How now, brown cow?
And to finish up tonight, we have one last question. Why do you believe there's a constant struggle between most men and women to be the head of the household? I'm just gonna kind of throw this little part out there, then I'll let you go for it. Me personally, I have a very big issue with, and I know it's gonna be some people that disagree with me. It's okay, and I don't care. But I'm gonna give you this example. Mother's Day, there's not a single guy putting up a picture of themselves saying Happy Mother's Day to me. Father's Day, there's plenty of women putting up pictures of themselves saying Happy Father's Day to me. So, to me, that's kind of where I kind of harbor this resentment for knowing your role, playing your role. I'm not that much of a traditionalist. I support women working. I support women doing all you can. Independence is a must. I get it. But there is no way, if I'm the head of the household, I'm the moneymaker, I'm the protector, I'm the provider, all these things, I expect to be able to make those decisions as a discussion between me and my significant other. That's just, I'm gonna throw that out there. Because I really and truly think that this has really gone to areas that's not fair to a lot of men. We don't have men's night. Y'all got ladies' night. Y'all drink free, eat free, do what the fuck you want to. But of course, we gotta be, really and truly just sit back and kind of take this. Yes, I get it. I'm kind of salty.
You mad, bro? You must be mad. But you're mad. You're mad.
I was about to say.
But this is one of those things that I don't budge at all. I don't budge on this because I come from an era of treat your woman right, respect her, treat her like a queen, and spoil her. But at the same time, I have to have that respect. No matter what, I have to. Independent of anything else, I have to have that respect. I don't believe in disrespect either way. If you gonna basically put it out there that I'm not quote unquote man enough to run a house, I got an issue with that. So.
Ooh, that's heavy.
Just,
So it's heavy little intro.
Just a little
lead right in.
A little extra.
I do just want to add in very quickly, ladies' night is a thing because of the fact that men will spend money on women. So if a woman would roll up into a club and buy a man a drink, a $15 drink, there'd be a men's night, but there's not. So ladies' night, ladies get in free because all these men about to follow you in here, pay the cover fee.
I can't help y'all be looking good. We can't control that.
I know, I'm sorry. We can't control nature, so that's one thing. That's one thing. So we can't change the fact that if I get into a club for free, a man will follow after me.
I pay gladly.
Pay money to get in, and then buy beverages. I can't change that.
I'm okay with that.
But I am grateful. So why do I believe there's a constant power struggle? It's interesting because I feel like I had friends who clued me into this, and I was like, I don't really know what you're talking about, because I feel like my parents have really demonstrated a very successful relationship with the way that they interact, with my dad being the head of the household and my mother being there to support him and provide a very different type of power within the relationship. Because obviously, like you said, know your role. So it's not about any one role being more or less important. It's about things working in harmony.
Yes.
And my mother, I will say that this is going to change for everyone. The number one thing with any relationship is to always understand the relationship that you're in, right? Yes. So that's communication between you and the person you're with. That's going to change the meaning of the head of the household. It's going to change the meaning of power, what you want. Go with what feels right for you. But for a lot of relationships, I feel like it's about knowing where your power comes from and the proper way to wield that. So with the type of people that my parents are, my mother always knew you cannot force my dad to do anything. He's got the hardest head, and that's why all three of her kids came out just stubborn, really stubborn, and that's fine. But she understands if I want my husband to do something, here's how I go about doing it. And I honestly feel like if you don't understand the person that you're with in that way, you probably shouldn't be together. If you don't see, here's maybe where they have a shortcoming, and this is how we have to get around it. You have to have a baseline level of respect for the person that you're with, and you have to trust them to do the job that you've put forth for them to do. So there's a two-part role in that. The person has to first prove that they're qualified for the job, but after you've decided that they are qualified for that job, you have to let them do that job. You can't micromanage. And it's also, you have to remember, you're not necessarily anyone's boss. You're partners, right? You're partners, but you're working together.
It's not a boss.
There's no boss. Yeah. Okay. I know. Yeah, that whole head of the household thing, it's very much the case. But like, when you talk about spoiling someone and providing for them and treating them like a queen, part of that is also a certain level of respect that you give to them, right?
Yep.
So you're not going to blast through and make a decision without them.
Not at all.
It's, like I said, it's going to manifest itself differently in every relationship, right? But what it really came down to with my family, it was like my dad is the one who's steering the ship. My mom provides her input, she provides her support, she does as much as she can to support him in the direction he's chosen to lead us. But my dad also takes full responsibility for the direction the ship is going in, right? So it's like, that's what the captain does. The captain goes down with the ship. So if he steers us in a certain direction and my mom's like, I'm gonna give you all I can to support you, and then we all go down, we all looking at him like, how you gonna mess that up? Excuse me. And then it's like, okay, we're gonna pick ourselves back up, but maybe you could like just like chill for a minute. Like, you don't have to be like captain, you could be like captain number 2. I really feel like it's a big thing about deferring to one another. And I also have a real issue with, and I was talking about this earlier, like this whole I don't need a man attitude, because there's such a difference between feeling fulfilled in and of yourself and wanting to lead your own life and being proud of the things that you've been able to accomplish, and telling someone before they even come into your life, I don't need you. No one wants to hear that, especially in a romantic context. People want to be needed. They need to be needed, right? Especially men. Like, I feel like if you're a woman who's sensitive to people, if you think about who you're interacting with, it's very easy to see like the sensitivities, the areas where men are self-conscious. Maybe everyone won't agree with this, but I feel like if you're aware of those things, it's up to you to be gentle with those things.
Of course.
There's no joy in like being like, I see you weak in this area, and you just, there's no fun in that. So when you're approaching a relationship, you assess, does this person have what it is I need in a relationship? Or really, before you even get into that, figure out what you need from someone. And then you find someone who fits those needs. And then if they don't fit those needs, sorry, it's not you, it's me. And you just move them along. And then you find someone who you can trust to be in that partnership with you. And then that respecting, it's something you have to constantly come back to. It's not like every second of your life you're gonna be like, I respect you so much, and you're doing the right thing right now. You have to work at it, but you have to remind yourself when you're ready to say some wild shit. You know what? I said I was gonna let you do your job.
Yeah.
You go ahead and do that. I'm struggling right now. I'm having some doubts, but I'm with you.
I like the way you put that. I'm having some doubts, but I'm with you.
Yeah.
But I think the vast majority of those situations can be remedied by that exact terminology.
Yeah.
Wherever you're taking us, I don't agree with.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. Speaks volumes.
Yeah.
That's not something that essentially you could play around with.
Yeah.
You know, and it could be, mortgage decisions. This could be whether buy a car. These are major life decisions that essentially we all know that. Let's take a car decision. Okay, the major force in making these purchases is the wife. It's a fact.
Yeah.
I think it's up to like 62%. And these car makers, of course, if you look at a lot of commercials, it's mostly women.
Yeah.
Because they're speaking to the mom.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I got a minivan. Oh, I got a truck.
Yeah.
Oh, I got this. But it's usually a woman that's driving it.
Yeah.
Very rarely, like you might have a F-150 pickup. Come on, guys. Pull up your tight ass jeans and let's go in the truck and put in your cowboy boots.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's going to be a woman.
Yeah.
So all this, research and development, all dictates and leans towards a woman.
Yeah.
I get it. I understand it. I agree with it. But just let us be men. That's all it is. I know it's just it's a very broad statement, but we really want that opportunity. You'll notice there's something that's very popular right now are man caves.
Yeah.
Where the man caves come from?
Yeah.
It's the only place you could be a dude.
Yeah. It's funny. I could really talk about this for a really long time, because two things as quickly as possible is the first thing is that most advertising is targeted towards women because women historically have purchasing power. The man makes the money and the woman decides how it's spent to make the best home, right?
Yes.
And then the second thing is I was just talking with my brother about this, about how with the changes in the workforce, obviously with more women working, there's this very interesting shift in the workplace dynamics. And he was explaining, there's nothing wrong with women joining the workforce, with women making their style of communication known in the workforce, with women asserting that they need to be respected within the workforce and where they're and with their peers. He's like, but there's a very distinct shift happening with the way work communication happens. He's like, men communicate in a very different way than women do. And he's like, with the number of women in an office, sometimes what'll end up happening is women will end up saying kind of like, well, you need to communicate more like this. And it's like, cool, that's not how I'm wired. Like, men understand power dynamics and they understand hard limits. So my brother would say, I could have a fist fight with my best friend. 5 minutes later, it'd be totally cool because we squashed it. Like, I beat him in this fist fight. It's done. We're gonna play some video games. We're done. But that's not how women communicate. And he's like, there's nothing. He's like, I understand that that's how those two things work. But when they come together, there has to be a bit of a compromise, because otherwise you end up with this. Well, you're the wrong kind of man because you're not communicating in the right way, the way that we understand. It's like, if you understand to start, we communicate differently, and there will always be that there, and we can work to bridge that. But you can't force me to convey ideas in the way that you like, to understand exactly where you're coming from, to approach things in the same way as you. Which is why I appreciate the dynamic in my family, where it's like, if I tell my brother, hey, here's how this girl's thinking, he listens to me. In the same way, he'll pop up and be like, you can't date that guy. I'm like, why not? It's like, because I clocked him and you cannot date that man. Like, he seems okay.
Immediately.
Yeah. But he'll just come in and be like, look, I know you're thinking things through. You're looking at this, looking at this. He said the reason that men approach each other the way they do is because we understand each other.
Of course.
He's like, the reason I bristle when a guy comes around is not because I think he's inherently wrong. It's because if he's the right kind of man, the kind of man that is I think gonna be right for you, I kind of have to be on edge around him a little bit.
Yeah.
That's just part of the territory. So I think a big thing for women is understanding men communicate differently. Sometimes I think y'all are crazy and I get real tired of how y'all communicate, but there are times where I have to just let that be. And it's like, okay, you need space. I can't force everything. I think a lot of women get caught up with trying to make everything, okay, so I got this, and I got this, and this is this, and this is this, and if you would just stop acting crazy, everything would be perfect. It's like, you can get out of that mindset.
That's all we need.
Yeah.
It's not,
if you just stop acting crazy.
No,
you could just say what you're feeling and stop just, then everything would be great. If you get out of that mindset, then everything will be great.
That's gonna always be the case. I'm gonna apologize now for that one, because that's not going nowhere. We crazy as fuck. So that wraps up today's show. I want to say thank you again for Kicks for sitting in on today's episode.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I definitely appreciate you. Now, don't forget, send me those questions. Keep me busy. Challenge me. I'm always up for a challenge. I'm still looking for some very unique questions, really and truly kind of crazy questions.
I like crazy questions too.
You know, the crazy questions are the ones that make me say, you know what, I've never been in this situation, but let's see how I would really react based on the question. I would love to answer those. Yeah. Don't forget, kennsquestions@gmail.com. Also, my Facebook page is under Kenneth Adams. Thank you so much again. Peace.
Bye.